You don't need a formal qualification of having gone to Harvard University and then Cambridge University. ये सब उनको नहीं चाहिए. As an ordinary human being, if you are going to sit and cry, oh, I missed this, I missed that, then you are not fitting into the role of being a leader and becoming a role model. You can't be calculating in terms of small coins when you are thinking of capturing a treasury.
Hello everyone, welcome to this special episode with a very special legendary guest with us today for the episode of Chanakya Unscripted. Today we have a man who is a legend in himself, who in his life has been a Chanakya himself, a person who retired as the Director General of Police Maharashtra, before which who served as the Joint Director in the CBI, Additional Director in the IB, also as the Commissioner, Joint Commissioner and Additional Commissioner of Mumbai Police Crime. Person who was responsible for breaking the backbone of underworld in Mumbai and making Mumbai one of the safest city in the world. Today we have D.Sivanandhan sir with us in his new avatar, in his second role in life, post-retirement, where his emotional sensitiveness is seen with his project on Roti Bag. So we'll be discussing his journey as leader and also his post-retirement engagements in this podcast. So we have Sivanandhan sir. Sir, namaste.
Thank you for having me on your show. All the best to you and to your team.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure having you, and thank you for sparing this time for us.
It's an honor.
And sir, our podcast which we are doing are very much focused on the subject of leadership. And none other than you can be a person who can give us more insights into leadership as a subject, because commanding a police force of 3 lakh armed forces, I would say 3 lakh policemen out there, and taking care of law and order, making the city, the country safe. Also, you've been working on projects which are related to internal and external security. So we'd like to know from you that by handling all difficult things in life which we as citizens feel, how does it feel, and what is that leadership quality which is required as an individual?
So Pranav, it is a fantastic question. You have asked 1,000 questions in one line. So it will be too difficult to unravel, but I would like to start with to say that leaders are not made. Leaders are all not produced. Leaders need not be born in a family of leaders. Like Winston Churchill's son or Alexander's son, he was not married. If he was married, if he had one. Or all those kind of peoples, the generals who left legends behind, their children need not have followed the same foot. So that way, my point is, anybody who is born anywhere at the lowest rung of the levels of the society could become a topmost leader. So like the lotus blooms only in mud. It can't be in a porcelain thing, in a fantastic clean Bisleri water. It doesn't survive. It is in the mud only lotus adds value. So giving a historic example, now that you provoked that, I want to say, Adolf Hitler was only a corporal. He was at the lowest level of the army. So was Julius Caesar, who was a Roman emperor. Adolf Hitler was almost the emperor of the Third Reich.
Yes.
And also all these guys who have made it to the top were at the bottom most level, and then they went up. Now what is the leadership all about them?
True.
Is the fire in the belly. So if they have that vision and the passion to match, that I would become this and this is how I will go and do that, and they have done that. The latest example is our own Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi. Allegedly, he was selling tea, and today look at this, the man has achieved the almost impossible thing of becoming one of the most powerful Prime Ministers in the world, the statesman of the world, and he is rubbing shoulders with Barack Obama or Donald Trump, Abki Sarkar, Trump Sarkar type of thing. What an achievement, And what was he? What is his formal education? If your viewers think like that, then they will come up to become the topmost general if they are qualified to join the army, or they would become a topmost statesman of the world like Shri Narendra Modi has done. And these are admirable qualities people should study. Vis-a-vis, we have on the one side Shri Narendra Modi, who was allegedly selling tea and without a formal education, but there is another princely man born with a platinum spoon, not silver spoon.
Yes.
Silver spoon to aap logon ko bhi mil jayega, but unko platinum spoon tha. What has he achieved?
Yes.
So these are two contrasts which is available for our for your viewers, and they should study. Ultimately, in my opinion, whether to become the IPS officer. Thousands of IPS officers have come and gone. How many people do we remember? So if you want to make yourself a person who has left a dent in the universe, when you give one punch in the universe, the dent should be there for long enough after you left. Very few people have done in the history of the humankind.
Yes.
So if you want to be one, then you should have the fire of the belly.
True.
So Chanakya left one. Also, Chandragupta Maurya left one,
True.
or so many others who have been leaders,
Yes.
they have left one. In the modern business world, if you ask me, Steve Jobs have left a dent in the universe.
Absolutely.
So would be Bill Gates, so would be so many others. So
Yes.
would be our own leaders like Sundar Pichai or Indira Nooyi or anybody like that.
True.
So these are the people who have come from humble background,
Absolutely.
and they remained humble even though they have been most powerful in the avatar, whatever avatar they have done.
Yes.
But then they have left a legend behind and also a dent in the universe.
Absolutely. Sir.
For that, my submission to you and to your viewers is that you don't need a formal qualification of having gone to Harvard University and then Cambridge University. ये सब उनको नहीं चाहिए. You need street level education and street level intelligence. The innate intelligence of a villager is far more sharper. I'm sure you heard the story where somebody came by the helicopter, landed and asked a farmer how many sheep are there and things like that.
Yes.
So that with all that satellite and all that counting, that poor engineer, poor man was counting the dog also as a sheep. So
Yes.
the farmer used to laugh. So that kind of a story shows that the more you are educated, maybe you are rendering yourself more away from being a top leader.
True.
Because without a gadget, without calculation, without satellite counting the sheep and the thing, you can't count.
True.
Whereas our own farmer will know everything by one look. He knows who is missing in the flock.
Yes.
Who is missing in the flock.
Yes.
And he needs only a nazar. That is leadership, and that is the kind of thing we should develop.
Wow. So this is amazing. That one eye view of the leader will just see and know what's happening. He knows the pulse, as we say, of what's happening around and what is happening around. So this fire in the belly which you talk about, the leader should have that fire in the belly which will make him do what he wants to do. However, sometimes this fire in the belly gets hindrances. People get hindered by a lot of surroundings, a lot of things happening around them. And at times they have to sacrifice things. I'm not using the word compromise, I'm using the word sacrifice, because when you leaving something behind for a higher purpose, it is more sacrificial there than being compromising on something. In your life, have you faced a situation where you had to leave behind things for your duty towards the country, towards the people, towards your own?
These are all, it's like eating cake every day. So when you wear a mantle of doing something, like if you are a general in the army and you are sitting on a horseback and going to win the world, so you are left behind your wife and children, you left behind your kingdom, and you are left behind so many things. In the same way, while being in the police and while you are doing the job, so all those other things are all, they become very ordinary. It's not a super sacrifice or anything like that. But then family, wife, children, relatives getting married, they're getting killed, you're not going to the funeral, things like that have become very ordinary things which you have left behind. But then, having gone to fight with the Naxals in the Naxal area,
Yes.
you go to Chandrapur, Gadchiroli, where there is no communication, there is no tower, there is no mobile phone, there is no telephone, there is no landline. You go there for 15 days or 17 days, you do your campaign and come back. Who is alive, who is dead, who got married, who produced children, it doesn't become, it becomes immaterial to you. Now, as an ordinary human being, if you are going to sit and cry, oh, I missed this, I missed that, then you are not fitting into the role of being a leader and becoming a role model.
Wow.
So that way, I think we can't be calculating in terms of small coins when you are thinking of capturing a treasury.
Wow.
So being a leader, leading this country like Narendra Modi, he doesn't have a family and he doesn't have all these things,
Yes.
So as a part of the strategy, if you had gone for some Nawaz Modi's, Pakistani Prime Minister's daughter's marriage or birthday or whatever it is, it was a part of a super strategy. He was doing it for the country. He was not doing it for himself.
Yes.
So that is how it is. In the same time, he may not have attended thousands of other marriages where his friends, relatives and others would have invited him. So these are part of a larger strategy for a super leader.
Wow.
So if you do that kind of a role, then you should not be calculating small things. I missed this, I missed that and all that. You've got a purpose, you've got a focus, and you're not leaving the focus by turning here, there, and all. It is like a super horse, which has got a blinkers there. It has got one direction and it runs in that one direction. So that is for achieving a particular purpose.
True.
Now, if you say multi-diversity and multifunctional Ashtavadar art things you have to do at one time, I don't know how many will do all those things. You want to climb Mount Everest? You can't be swimming in the Pacific Ocean and trying to climb Mount Everest. No? Mount Everest is Mount Everest. Focus all your energy only to face Mount Everest.
So dedication to the purpose, the determination to
In
achieve.
that, the small things which you miss in life should not be called as a sacrifice. That's my point.
Wow. All right. They're just minuscule things which you at times wouldn't even want to
Count as something which you have made. Your party, birthday, death day, or somebody's shadi, all those things are all things,
True.
which can wait. But the main focus is climbing Mount Everest.
True. Wow.
You can't climb above Mount Everest and come and attend for somebody's shadi and then go back and again climb. No, can't do that.
Yes.
In one go, it has to be done.
Yes.
For that, you need so much of practice. For years of practice, and then you go and hit.
Wow. So, in coming from past to present today, what we are as a country facing, and I would say the policy which India is adopting, in Chanakya's word, if I put it, it's called Udasina, where we are India centric. We are not having a stand. I would say not having a stand. I would say rather we have our own stand. It's not even non-aligned. I would say it's India-aligned stand which we have now, where we internally look at what's beneficial to our country. You work for internal and external securities. You have worked with the Israeli forces. You've been with the NYPD and you learned. I mean, you had some training there and things like that. How do you see this new approach which is there? And I would say a bold approach where we are trying to say that for our benefits, we are ready to take a post.
If you look at the whole history, this morality has to start with one's own survival. Jahan hai to jahan hai. So in the world thing also, we are not going to discuss politics. We are not going to discuss what is Russia, what is USA, and what is India, the alignment. These are apna bas ki baat nahi hai. At least mera bas ki baat nahi hai. I will not get into that. But I will give you a simple example. When you are flying in the aircraft, if the air pressure goes down, what does the instruction say? What does that person say? First, pehle apna mask naqab pehen lo, फिर बाद में अपना बच्चे को पहन. So normally as a parent, what is our idea? पहले वो आता है तो अपना बच्चे को सेव करेंगे, फिर बाद में हम जिंदा हो तो अपने ऊपर डाल. But no, the instruction is that you save yourself first, then you can save the others.
True.
So in that kind of a situation, if you look at the world geopolitics, it's a small thing. Interdependence today has become so high. So when you say that India is doing all these things, India is doing all those things with the level of interdependence. We are depending upon somebody for our entire armed forces supply. The entire thing is their supply chain. If it is broken, then we will not be facing China or anybody like that.
True.
So our oil has to come.
Yes.
Germany, for your kind information, two undersea pipelines are there, Notre Dame 1 and Notre Dame 2. So they are supplying almost 55 billion cubic meters of gas every minute or hour or day, whatever it is.
True.
It's a huge dependence on somebody, and that comes from Russia avoiding Ukraine and Poland, and that is why this problem is taking place. But for today, right, for Germany, for them, my supply of gas of 55 billion cubic meter per day or per hour or per minute, whatever, that is much more important than taking aside this NATO, this one, that one, Ukraine and all that.
True.
So today, all said and done, being Udasi or Udarmand or whatever is the opposites of whatever it is, that comes later. First is our own survival.
Yes.
We all said and done, China and India would be constituting 35% of the total population. We are 18%, China 17%.
Yes.
Don't you think we should think that how do we survive and how do we flourish?
True.
In this, whatever you say, alignment, non-alignment, A and all that doesn't make any. These are all strategists who are sitting there and planning as to how are we today, how are we next 1 year, how are we going to be next 10 years. That's what they're planning.
True.
So, in this, Chanakya would help, Tunvalwar would help, anybody would help as to how keep everybody there. Sun Tzu would help. The same Chinese guy would say when to hit the enemy and when to withdraw and when to go into hiding and when to become show up and when to show down. All that has been told. So, our country or any other country today is all doing that only.
True.
The whole thing, if you study, what is the response of USA? What is the response of other countries? Australia, Japan, France, or European Union, all of them are all responding first with the priority of taking care of themselves and then taking care of the others. It's exactly like in the aircraft, putting the gas mask on the on yourself first and then the friends or relatives or whoever it is. Precisely in this almost third world war, that what is happening. Save my interests first, save my border, save my people and all that. So giving another example is Sri Lanka. No gas, no food, no nothing. What the level? Whole Sri Lanka is on fire. Agitations galore. So they have not preserved themselves. Though then they are having a problem. In India, we are the biggest wheat growing country because Ukraine is another wheat growing country. We got a fantastic opportunity of giving away millions of tons of wheat.
Yes.
So every adversity is also an opportunity.
True.
Fittest survives.
Survival of the fittest.
Darwin says the fittest of the species will survive. So in this kind of a chaos, we have to be the fittest to survive. Otherwise, we will not be there.
So fitness, survival, modern day warfare and techniques which we are talking of, we're looking at somewhere where decoupling is happening. Countries are looking for their own survival and their own interest, which is more important. However, the world is somewhere linked to each other because of the digital world. And the digital world in the present day is something which has changed all our lifestyles. Right? Especially things like fintech. In fact, you
tried to study fintech,
yes.
I did succeed. Yeah.
But modern day crime and in fact policing also is all about digital policing. Now we're looking at having cyber security cells. In fact, we're talking of having cyber armies. In fact, apart from having Air Force, Navy, and Army, we also have the cyber army, which is there because there's cyber wars which take place. In fact, when Russia attacked Ukraine, the first thing happened was all the servers were brought down and this cyber security was hit. How do you see this complex world from policing point of view? Is it becoming easier because now that everything can be tracked, or is it becoming a challenge because privacy is becoming a concern?
You have packed so many punches in one question. I will only talk about the cyber crime to start with. The world has become a small global village where from any corner anybody can commit a crime without going to this site of crime and also blow up people to pieces in cyber war or do cyber espionage, collect data, privacy, lack of privacy, recording people in their private moments, everything not coming anywhere near the scene of crime.
True.
So thousands of kilometers away, if somebody is sitting in North Korea, operating in Mauritius, whereas the Bank of Dhaka, Bank of Bangladesh was the target, and their money kept in New York was delivered in Manila, and all happened from a Friday evening to Monday morning, and $83 million have been taken away. Now tell me, who is going to catch whom? So that is the new challenge today. All future crime or all future wars or all future spying, all will be with these cyber capabilities only.
All right.
Our own homeland, if you take the Bank of Cosmos Bank in Pune, somebody from somewhere, we don't know, this Bangladesh bank also, 6 years, nobody knows who has done that.
Yes.
And Cosmos Bank also, in 16,000 swipes 2 years before, 80 crores of rupees was taken away in one day. And they gave a gap of 3 days, and again for a few thousand swipes, they took away another 14 crores. The total loss of Cosmos Bank is 94 crores. So if that is the kind of money if a crook is making, why you should take a gun or a knife and cut the neck and have a blood in the hand and leave it all over the wall?
True.
No need at all. So the future murders will be cyber murders. Future robberies will be also cyber. A war also. You said about the Ukraine war, like you quoted Russians, how they use cyber. In the same way, Ukraine is repaying to Russia through cyber war only. They got a cheap, this one's pilotless aircraft called, what is it called? The flying machines.
Unmanned
aircraft.
UAVs.
UAVs. UAVs. They bought it at a cheaper rate from Turkey. And they are using devastatingly against the mighty army of the Russians.
They blew off the whole oil.
They could do anything. They can do anything and everything, and all these things are affordable, cheaper costing. But what is the at play is the cyber technology. So sitting there with a laptop, if we can reach out and switch off the entire electricity of a country, which happened in Mumbai, not once, twice. Recently in one thing, and October 2020. Another for a longer period of time.
Yes.
If that can happen, and in Russia it has happened, in the USA it happened, some oil pipeline was blown up using cyber technology. If all that can be done, then we have to be aware as to what is the interdependence all about and what is the mutual assistance for preventing such crimes as to happen. So if it is a global village, as Alvin Toffler has written in that book called The Third Wave, 30 years before he wrote, that is a global village. If that is the kind of concept, then we have to come to terms and agreement as to how countries would help to neutralize, nullify and take cognizance of such criminals who are working against the humanity. If the governments are doing it, for example, China, Pakistan and other countries are all having their own, North Korea, they have their own private army, you mentioned, the cyber army, and they are attacking the enemy all the time, that is another matter. But when it comes to individuals looting banks or looting people or looting various other things, like a Jamtara-like situation, which you have seen in the Netflix.
Yes.
If some people are going every day looting money from your bank account of innocent people, then the law and order machinery has to mutually assist and quickly solve the matter.
So how do you see this getting solved? How do you see this?
It is not getting solved, it is becoming more and more complicated.
Yes.
The other day, a company, people came to me and said their entire data has been encrypted by someone and they are asking for ransom money in bitcoins.
Ransomware, yes.
Ransomware is playing havoc in Mumbai, is playing havoc everywhere. Now, when you go to the police, they are telling it is done by the Russian mafia. And if they write the FIR and try to detect it, they have to write to the Ministry of External Affairs. And the external affairs will write to external affairs of Russia, Kremlin. And then they will write to their crime branch. And then they will. It is called Mutual Legal Assistance Treaty, MLAT. For that you have to meet and then you sign. You have to agree that you will help in case of this such kind of thing and all that. For example, bringing your Vijay Mallya or neither Modi or Lalit Modi or anybody, it's all under MLAT, Mutual Legal Assistance Treaty. Extra. That is what the MEA,
Yes.
Ministry of External. So if your company is getting encrypted, your data is there and you are not able to do danda, what you will do to go to the police and they will write to MEA and to Russia, Kremlin and all that. You danda to chaupat ho jayega. So what do the people do? They said, okay, you take your thing and release de-encrypt my data. So this is what is happening. You are asking me what I'm looking forward to. A quick resolution on these issues of at least small matters can be settled. Bigger matters between two governments if they are fighting with armies, that's a different matter altogether. But at least they should be able to quickly bring in all the countries together and solve issues which are cropping up in running businesses and various other things.
So I'm getting more thoughts and questions because of
Ask
your
as much
insights.
as you like.
The way you are
You
giving
can cut it into two and put it into two different things.
For sure,
Baskets.
yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, so there's something which we are talking of these days. Is called data sovereignty, where we are looking at having all the servers which we have. So present day we use server of Microsoft, we use servers of countries which are in other country. I would say, In fact, Microsoft has their server which is deep inside the sea. The challenge becomes in times of any dispute with another country. If the servers are shut down, we are in trouble. So we are talking of something called as data sovereignty, where we are trying to build those servers within our physical boundaries at least, so that we have this safety net which is there. However, it's easier said than done because the world is so linked with each other. So this is something like, if I have to tell you from a conventional policing point of view, that a criminal has just crossed the district and gone to the other district, or crossed the border of the state and gone to other state, and now for me to go and catch that man who's just standing across the line, go to the High Court, take permission to go and approach the police from the other state, and then do some kind of an action on them. So this kind of complexity which is there. How do we, as a country, which is again becoming very self-sustenance, which you're talking about?
This is again, you are talking about all futuristic things actually. So this is also a very, very nice response is there for such kind of thing. One thing for the software, your data sovereignty, you don't have to worry whether you are buried under the sea or you are putting in satellite or you are putting in cloud. Anybody, a 10-year-old child can break your cloud and go there and get into it and come back. For that, he need not take a rocket and reach there to the cloud and open up the cloud door. So same way you bury your entire data sovereignty inside under the sea, I don't have to dive deep into that and go and open that at all. I can sit in my computer and just unlock it and do whatever I like.
Or lock it in for that.
Lock, unlock, defreeze, freeze, encrypt, de-encrypt, whatever it is. So this data sovereignty is not physical. Please remember that.
All right.
That you kept it in Hyderabad. Whenever data, say for example, a famous stock exchange, their entire data is running, thousands of things are happening. Their alternate site in case of a problem here is in Hyderabad. But I don't have to go to Hyderabad to attack that or attack this. I can sit in any garage or any apartment and start working on these things. You have to know the algorithm, the way it works. That's all.
True.
So this idea of burying it in the sea or burying it in the cloud or going to Trishanku, Swarga and all that is all irrelevant in cyber world.
True.
In cyber world, you need to know the algorithm and you have to have the internet wavelength. And you reach anywhere and then do your job and come away. That's as simple as that.
Wow.
So, what in that you asked me what should be done? What we need to have firewalls, and we used to have the protection, the door. For example, you build a palace of say $10 million, and if there is a kadikoida and the lock, and if I can break it there with a hammer and enter into the $10 million bungalow. So now today, if you got a locker, in case you have a locker and if it is operating on your biometric or fingerprint, I can take your biometric when you are using my glass of water. I put a tape, take your fingerprint, put it in my finger and I open your door.
Yes.
So how safe is your house, you tell me?
Absolutely not.
It's all very simple. So as complicated as we make in the cyber world, it becomes that simple for a criminal also to get things done. So that way, if somebody is imagining that somebody is on the road, he is lying unconscious in an accident, and if he's a big man, if it's a Mercedes car and things like that, imagine somebody taking his fingerprints quickly and then using it for a variety of purposes. It can happen.
So they say no more need to cut the throat, you just need to cut the thumb and use it.
No, you don't have to cut the thumb. Wood over only. You don't have to do. Just scan it in your mobile phone. You are still thinking like a conventional old man. You become small, young boy. You have to only scan it and keep it in your thing, and you can convert it into whatever you like. Go to his house and put it on the door, and the door opens.
Wow.
So we have to think like enemy. We have to think like an enemy army. We have to think like various others who are working against your interest, and then see that the firewalls and various others are created accordingly.
Sure.
But now that I have spoken on a subject with which I am not an expert, I want to tell this also on record for your viewers that machines, quantum computing has come. It has become 5G has come, and all other things have come. All these things, if somebody is trying to break it into a computer with a proper passcode or a password, it will take years for any other quantum computer to break into another computer.
Alright.
Computer to computer hacking with the proper password protection and the firewall is just not possible.